There are qualifying races, and then there are moments that make the entire athletics world stop and pay attention. What happened on this track was supposed to be a simple step toward the next round, but something about this performance immediately caught the eye of fans, commentators, and sprint analysts alike. In this video, we'll break down every key detail of the race, from the athlete introductions and lane assignments to the technical aspects that made this run so intriguing. We'll examine body language before the start, acceleration patterns through the bend, race strategy, and the subtle signs that often reveal far more than the final time on the scoreboard. Sometimes the most important story isn't who crossed the line first. Sometimes it's how they ran, what they revealed, and what it could mean for the races still to come. This performance raised plenty of questions and may have provided a few answers as well. Let's take a closer look at a race that delivered much more than anyone expected.
Three of her teammates in the 4x1. She's gone inside 23 seconds, but not this season. Now listen to the reception for Great Britain's and Scotland's Beth Dobbin. The St Andrews flags are flying high after Eilish McColgan's gold in the 10,000 last night. Dobbin in 4 with Denisha Cartwright of the Bahamas inside her. PB in Division 2 of the NCAAs earlier this year. And now to the Olympic champion and the newly crowned Commonwealth champion over 100 metres. We've had a lot of the women's finalists from last night not starting. Not the case for Thompson-Herah, fully embracing the Commonwealth experience, and the championship is richer, much richer for her participation. Thompson-Herah of Jamaica in 2, Cartwright Bahamas in 3, Dobbin Scotland 4, Prito Trinidad in 5, Becher Australia 6, Apcup Papua New Guinea in 7, Mohammed the Maldives in lane 8. Excellent qualification so far. And Bomber 23.2, Das 23.4, White Jamaica 23.6, and Ofili from Nigeria 22.71. What will we see here from the newly crowned 100-metre champion Thompson-Herah in lane 2, 5th heat of the 200 metres.
Set.
An expectant hush around the stadium. You can hear a pin drop. Thompson-Herah has Cartwright to chase. Going well is Becher. Coming round that bend with Beth Dobbin also in the mix for one of these top 3 automatic places. But Thompson-Herah is floating down the track. Dobbin closing in on Becher. Herah jogs across the line. Dobbin second, Becher third, 22.80. She's 900 slower than Ofili from the previous heat, but that looked utterly effortless. She's helped a little bit by that handy tailwind, but I don't know about you, Steph, I'm just so impressed at the maturity of Thompson-Herah and how much respect she's paying these Commonwealth titles by being here.
100%. When I was holding my breath until the start of the heats, waiting to see if she would come out, and especially after so many athletes did have the DNS. And again, I think that just speaks to 22.39 in the World Championships for 7th place. That's still a great time, but for her standards, it wasn't enough. And this is someone who has come back determined to write her own story to end off this season. It was a great start from Thompson-Herah, but also from Dobbin and from Becher. And again, the 200 rounds, you have to put the work in up front, and you can kind of see a bit later on down the race if you can take the burners off. We see Elaine as she gets into her smooth running, but Dobbin and Becher are still fighting to make sure they're going to be in that top 3 automatic qualifying place.
Yeah, it's just brilliant to have her here. Beth Dobbin, such a popular British and Scottish athlete, coming through to outdip Becher. And by the way, the non-automatic 6th spot has now tickled its way up to 24.49. Cartwright of the Bahamas from this heat. It was previously Bayou of Papua New Guinea, but Cartwright, who had a decent run there, the young Bahamian, is just about holding on to a non-automatic spot, but that was nothing more than a jog there at the end from the Olympic champion. I think she's just determined to race as much as she can when she's feeling fit, because despite the fact that she's a quadruple individual Olympic champion, not even bringing into account the relays, over the years intermittently she's had a torrid time with all sorts of injuries, and she's obviously come here feeling like she's in the mood, feeling like she's in the groove. She's done the one, why not the two?
I think as an athlete, you never know when your time's going to be done. You have to take every opportunity you can when your body is fit.
Well, you can see the strength of that wind that was helping Elaine Thompson-Herah, but she was met by enormous talent. At 22.80, Beth Dobbin coming through to outdip Becher. Prito already guaranteed a place in the semi-finals because we've only got one more heat to come. Cartwright just about holding on to a non-automatic.
What appeared to be a routine qualifying heat quickly evolved into one of the most significant sprint performances of the season. While the result itself was expected, the manner in which Elaine Thompson-Herah achieved it revealed far more than a simple qualification. Her victory in 22.80 seconds was not just about advancing to the next round. It was a demonstration of control, efficiency, and the kind of championship composure that separates great athletes from the rest of the field. The race featured several capable competitors who entered the heat with realistic ambitions of progressing. Scotland's Beth Dobbin had established herself as a reliable performer on the European circuit, while Germany's Justina Becher arrived in strong form and with growing confidence. Several younger athletes were also looking to make an impression on one of the sport's biggest stages. Yet from the moment the race began, it became clear that Thompson-Herah was operating on a different level. The most striking aspect of her performance was not the finishing time itself, but the way she produced it. In sprinting, particularly over 200 meters, efficiency is often more valuable than visible effort. Many athletes can run fast when pushing to their limits. Far fewer can produce elite times while appearing completely relaxed. Thompson-Herah belonged firmly in the second category. Her start was sharp without being aggressive. She reacted well to the gun and immediately established rhythm through the opening meters. Rather than attacking the curve with excessive force, she maintained excellent posture and balance, allowing her stride pattern to remain smooth and consistent. This is a critical element of successful 200-meter running because the bend often tempts athletes into wasting energy through unnecessary tension. As the field approached the halfway point, Thompson-Herah had already begun to separate herself. The gap was not created through a dramatic surge, but through a gradual accumulation of advantages. Her stride frequency remained high, her ground contact times appeared minimal, and her running mechanics stayed remarkably stable. Every movement looked economical. This efficiency becomes especially important when evaluating an athlete's current condition. Sprint performances are often judged purely by the stopwatch, but coaches and analysts frequently focus on how a time is achieved. A 22.80 run under visible strain tells a very different story from a 22.80 run produced with obvious reserves remaining. In this case, Thompson-Herah never appeared close to maximum effort. Coming off the bend, she was already in complete control. While several athletes behind her were fighting to secure automatic qualification positions, Thompson-Herah looked composed and patient. There was no sign of panic, urgency, or unnecessary exertion. She simply continued executing her race model with the confidence of someone who knew the outcome had already been decided. The final straight further highlighted the difference in class. Many athletes begin to tighten during the closing stages of a 200-meter race as fatigue accumulates. Thompson-Herah remained relaxed through her shoulders and upper body, preserving the fluid mechanics that have defined her career. Even before crossing the finish line, she was visibly reducing effort, an indication that her primary objective was qualification rather than chasing a fast time. Her winning mark of 22.80 seconds therefore deserves careful interpretation. On paper, it may not stand out as one of the fastest performances of her career. However, context is everything. Championship rounds require athletes to manage energy across multiple races. Experienced champions understand that winning comfortably while conserving resources can be more valuable than producing a spectacular time in an early round. The performances behind her also deserve recognition. Beth Dobbin delivered an excellent race under pressure, securing second place through determination and disciplined execution. Her ability to remain competitive against one of the greatest sprinters in history demonstrated both confidence and preparation. Justina Becher continued her strong season by finishing third and confirming that her recent improvements are no coincidence. Despite these solid performances, the spotlight inevitably remained on Thompson-Herah because of what this race suggested about her larger trajectory. Recent seasons have been complicated by injuries and interruptions that limited her opportunities to compete consistently. Questions emerged regarding her ability to return to the level that once made her virtually unbeatable on the global stage. This performance did not answer every question, but it provided several encouraging signs. Most importantly, she looked healthy. Her movement pattern appeared unrestricted, her acceleration phase was controlled, and there were no visible signs of physical discomfort. For an athlete whose recent challenges have often been linked to fitness concerns, that observation may be more important than the time itself. There was also evidence of renewed confidence. Great sprinters often display a unique sense of calm when they are in top form. They trust their preparation, trust their mechanics, and trust their ability to respond when required. Thompson-Herah displayed exactly that mindset throughout the race. Nothing about her approach suggested uncertainty. From a broader perspective, the performance also reinforced Jamaica's enduring strength in sprinting. For decades, Jamaican athletes have set the global standard through a combination of talent, technical development, and competitive culture. Thompson-Herah remains one of the most accomplished representatives of that tradition. Even after years at the highest level, she continues to command attention whenever she steps onto the track. Ultimately, this race was significant because it served as a reminder of what makes Elaine Thompson-Herah such a dangerous competitor. She did not need a record-breaking time to make a statement. She did not need dramatic celebrations or emotional displays. Her message was delivered through execution alone. A controlled 22.80 seconds in a qualifying heat may not dominate headlines in the same way as a championship record, but for those who understand sprinting, the implications were clear. The efficiency, composure, and visible reserve power suggested that more remains available. If this performance was merely a qualifying effort, her rivals have every reason to pay attention. The race ended with Thompson-Herah comfortably advancing, but the larger story was only beginning. The result confirmed qualification. The performance suggested possibility. And for the rest of the sprinting world, that may have been the most important takeaway of all.